Welcome, seeker of the hidden light, to the awakening of a new dawn within your own cells. While the world sleeps in the noise of matter, a silent and sacred phenomenon transmutes your biology. You feel that something has changed, a vibration that runs through your spine like a river of gentle fire. What was once solid now seems to vibrate at an unknown and profound frequency. Prepare yourself, for your physical body is being rewritten by the invisible hands of the great cosmos. Many seek enlightenment in the stars, but they forget that the temple of flesh is the laboratory. Spiritual awakening is not an abstract concept, but a real metamorphosis that alters your very senses. Your eyes now catch glimpses of a reality that ordinary science does not yet dare to name. There is a new brightness in your gaze, a clarity that pierces through the veil of worldly illusions. You have been chosen for this biological alchemy because your soul is finally ready to bloom. In this sacred encounter, we will reveal the irreversible changes occurring right now in your nervous system. Buddhism teaches us that form is emptiness, but this emptiness is becoming radiantly alive. Why do you wake up in the silence of the dawn while all others remain in deep sleep? Why have certain foods and environments suddenly lost their taste and meaning for your spirit? The answers are engraved in the DNA of your consciousness, waiting to be finally awakened. The journey we begin now is not for the curious, but for the initiates in the fire of growth. Every inexplicable physical discomfort is, in truth, the breaking of the chains of an old and dense identity. We are facing the update of the human hardware to support the infinite voltage of the pure divine spirit. Stay with me until the end, for what you discover will change your perception forever. The mutation has begun, and your body will never again be what it was before. The subtle perception of the senses opens the portal to an even deeper and more visceral change. The temple of flesh now begins to vibrate at a voltage that the old system could not withstand. It is the moment when the energy dormant at the base of the spine awakens with vigor. The nervous system, like electrical wiring, must be recalibrated for the new incoming light. This transition marks the end of inertia and the beginning of cellular radiance. You will feel sudden waves of heat that run through your power centers without any external cause. These are the fires of purification, what the ancients called the awakening of the sacred Kundalini. Every nerve and every synapse is being cleansed of dense memories and traumas from the past. The tingling in your hands and feet is the sign that prana flows freely. Your body is ceasing to be coal to become a pure and bright diamond. Often, this intensity can be confused with a tiredness that common sleep simply cannot cure. In truth, it is the biological reset necessary for your consciousness to anchor in higher dimensions. The brain is creating new neural bridges to process the wisdom that now flows from above. Do not fear these spasms of light, for they are the signature of life in expansion. You are being prepared to carry the infinite voltage of the pure spirit. This change in the nervous system is the foundation for Buddhist peace to become physical. Where before there was reactivity and stress, there now arises a space of calm observation. The electricity of your being is harmonizing with the electromagnetic field of the universe itself. It is an invisible restructuring, but one that permanently alters how you feel life pulsing. The human hardware has been updated, and the connection with the whole is complete. With the nervous system now vibrating at a new octave, common rest is no longer enough. The physical body enters a phase of mystical vigil that defies all worldly logic. It is the moment when sleep ceases to be an escape to become a meeting. The hours of rest are now the laboratory where your soul processes the divine light. Prepare yourself to understand why the silence of the night has become your new home. You will notice that your eyes suddenly open between 3 and 4 in the morning. This is the Brahma Hour, the instant when the veil between worlds is thinnest. The universe whispers secrets while humanity still sleeps in dense and heavy dreams. Your body is not suffering from insomnia, but rather answering a sacred call. It is an invitation to silent prayer or to simple and pure presence. In these hours of vigil, The brain operates at frequencies that capture what the day hides. The download of cosmic information occurs while the cells regenerate under the lunar light. Rest becomes lucid, and your dreams become portals of pure and direct teaching. Buddhism speaks to us of the continuity of consciousness, and you are living it now. The need for endless hours of sleep begins to decrease to make room for life. This change in rest cycles is an irreversible adjustment of your new vibrational signature. The fatigue that was once physical is now replaced by a vitality born from the center. You learn to rest in the void, where time has no power over the flesh. It is the body adapting to the immortality of the spirit that now commands every beat. The dawn is no longer loneliness, but the deepest communion with the whole. The refinement of the spirit now requires a new fuel to sustain such a high voltage of light. What once nourished only the fleshly body now seems heavy and devoid of life. The transition to a vibrational diet occurs without effort of will, but by a call from the cells. The palate, once a slave to worldly desires, now seeks the purity of the source. It is the disintegration of old tastes to make room for soul nourishment. You will notice that dense or processed foods lose their flavor and bring a sudden fatigue. The body, in its Buddhist wisdom of non-attachment, begins to reject what vibrates in fear. Meat and heavy sugars become obstacles to the flow of pranic energy in your channels. A spontaneous desire for living foods, gathered directly from the sun and earth, arises. It is your biology aligning with the frequency of divine nature itself. Hydration becomes a sacred necessity, for water is the crystal that conducts the light. You will feel a thirst that is not just physical, but a search for constant purification. Drinking water becomes a ritual of cleansing ancient and dense cellular memories. Each sip is a prayer that helps anchor the new frequencies in your sacred DNA. The body understands that transparency is the path to the manifestation of the spirit. This change in eating habits is an irreversible milestone in your journey of awakening. There is no sacrifice when the spirit takes command of the needs of the temple of flesh. You discover that true energy does not come from what is consumed, but from light. The detachment from coarse sensory pleasures reveals a banquet of subtleties that few can taste. Feel the lightness of being nourished by what is eternal and truly radiant. The subtle nourishment of the soul now overflows to the surface, molding the clay of your existence. The temple you inhabit is undergoing a restructuring of its own sacred and hidden geometry. It is not just a change of mood, but an alteration in the density of your expression. The face, once marked by the tensions of the ego, begins to reflect the peace of the void. It is the spirit sculpting the matter to mirror the internal light. Your eyes are the first to denounce this irreversible and profound metamorphosis to the world. The glow emanating from them is no longer a reflection of external light, but a source of its own. In mysticism, it is said that the look of compassion is born when judgment finally dies. People around you will notice a clarity that pierces through masks and illusions. You now see unity where most see only a painful and cold separation. The lines of expression, once furrowed by resistance and fear, begin to soften gently. There is a supernatural calm emanating from your features, a serenity that Buddhism calls equanimity. Your physical presence becomes magnetic, attracting some and repelling those who fear the truth. The bone structure and the skin seem to vibrate with a transparency that defies age. It is the signature of the soul permanently engraved in your biology. This change in physiognomy is the sign that the void has become your real form. You no longer need masks to protect an identity that no longer exists. The body is now a clean channel for divine consciousness to express itself freely. Every line of your face tells the story of a battle won against density. Feel the freedom of possessing a face that finally matches your eternal essence. The geometry of your face is now the mirror of a freedom born deep within your cells. The temple of flesh, once heavy and solid, begins to experience the lightness of Buddhist emptiness. You feel that the gravity of the third dimension no longer exerts the same power over you. It is the feeling that the spirit is expanding beyond the limits of the skin. This is the final phase of transmutation, where consciousness floats above matter. Often, you may feel a strange spatial disorientation, as if you were not fully here. It is not an escape from reality, but the perception that reality is much wider. Your feet touch the ground, but your mind resides in the infinite silence of the cosmos. There is an internal fluctuation, a cellular detachment from everything that once bound you to the floor. You are learning to walk in the world without belonging to its currents. This physical detachment is proof that the old identity has been finally dissolved in light. The cells now understand that they are made of energy and information, not just clay. The fear of biological death disappears when you feel immortality pulsing in your blood. It is a lightness that brings silent joy and a peace that nothing can disturb. You become a conscious traveler between dimensions, inhabiting the body as a master. This mutation is irreversible, for once the soul flies, the cage loses its meaning. You are now a being of light who uses the form only as a vehicle of love. Feel this freedom vibrate in every atom of your being, celebrating the great final liberation. The spiritual awakening has completed its work in the sacred laboratory that is your own body. You are ready to manifest the new heaven on the earth you tread. We have reached the apex of this sacred journey, where understanding becomes flesh and light becomes life. What you felt in your body was not an error, but the call of the inner master. The changes we discussed are the marks of a soul that has finally decided to bloom in matter. You are no longer the same being who started this video, for the truth has awakened. Honor every sensation, every shiver, and every silence, for they are your new map. Buddhism teaches us that enlightenment is the return to the natural state of all things. Your physical body is now a purified chalice, ready to hold the vastness of the cosmic ocean. Do not fear the misunderstanding of the world, for not all have eyes to see the invisible. The mutation is the seal of your readiness to serve as a beacon in these times of transition. You are living proof that the spirit can indeed transmute the density of clay. Now that you know the signs, the responsibility to sustain this frequency is yours and your soul's. Cultivate silence, nourish yourself with light, and observe the sacred geometry of life unfolding before you. Spiritual awakening is a path of no return, but it is the only one that leads to true freedom. May your biology always be a faithful reflection of the peace that dwells in your sacred center. Walk with the certainty that the entire universe vibrates in every cell. If this knowledge resonated deep within your being, manifest your presence right now in the comments. Write, "I accept my transmutation," to seal this commitment to your own biological and spiritual evolution. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and activate the sacred bell so you don't miss the next portals of wisdom. Share this video with those you feel are also awakening to this new and radiant reality.